Hello! It is Sunday. It is afternoon, and while Sako and I might be at Imaginarium, and she's got a panel right now, that doesn't mean I don't have snacks and writing to do. I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood, and today I'm coming to you live from Imaginarium in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. And with me today, I have the one, the only Doc Coleman. Say hi to the nice people.
Hi, nice people.
So I hope everybody's been having a great weekend. I know I have. And I even got sleep last night. So I didn't really hit any panels this morning. But
You got sleep at a con? What's going wrong? No.
yeah, I had a room party and I kicked everybody out at 2 and they were gone by 2:30. And then I cleaned up and then I slept until noon.
Okay.
So popping into the comments, we have Desdemona, hello, who joined us live at Balticon a couple months ago. So great to see you again. We have Debbie Renew, hello and welcome. And let's see, Desdemona is attempting to remember how this whole being nice thing works. So what are you working on today? Did people bring projects, snacks, or both?
Let's see. I'm still working on the continuing saga of edits to the Kindred of Kali, trying to get it ready for publication. I've also got some. Also spent the afternoon at the Apple Store and have come back with a couple things that need
Okay,
unboxing.
shopping, not tech support.
Yes, shopping. Well,
you scared me for a minute.
Tech support shopping.
Why is it when I hear about people going to the Apple Store, I assume tech support and not purchasing?
I don't know. Maybe it's because they've got the whole Genius Bar thing going on.
Maybe.
But...
So, okay. I am still working on my space fantasy. I think I've hit the last 50 pages, but we are in the climax and I really want to punch it up a lot. So definitely got some work to do there. My snacks today is I have a cup of lemonade. And did I mention I threw a room party? I have both the salty of corn chips and the sweet of Chips Ahoy. So if they would love to sponsor me, just let me know. Okay. Popping into the comments, we've got Debbie Renault. And Debbie has kids rampaging through the house and corrected my pronunciation. I'm sorry. And Desdemona has both chips and guac and is working up a character profile for a World Anvil Summer Camp Challenge. It's a character Desdemona will be able to use in their next novel. That's awesome.
Nice.
So super exciting. Kids rampaging through the house. Hopefully they are having fun and being less destructive than they could.
All sound and no fury.
Right. The joy without the oops.
Yeah.
So
as long as we don't hear the cries of "uh-oh."
Exactly. So Sako is busy right now because she is at a panel. Both of us road tripped 9 hours to Louisville, Kentucky from Northern Virginia, where we've been talking shop all weekend long. I just got out of moderating a Benefits of NaNoWriMo panel. And before that, I was talking about attractive blogging. And so my voice is starting to get a little tired. So why don't we just dive into a sprint? I want to get some work done. You might want to get some work done. And I don't know about you, but there's some cookies with my name on them right there.
I don't have any cookies.
Well, that's sad. I'll eat one for you.
You will taunt me with the cookie.
It's like a toast when you pour one out for your homie. I'll eat a cookie for you.
You'll crumble a cookie out for me.
Mom and Maggie is here. Hello, Maggie. They were going to a barbecue. They're going to make us a plate of macaroni salad and pineapple and lemon pepper glazed chicken. Ooh, that sounds good. I don't know what my dinner plans are, but that is Maggie's reward after a long morning of editing. So awesome. Okay, well, let me go ahead and get ready to share my timer. And
Mm.
uh, yeah, so here's the timer. Let's make that maybe a little smaller, a
A
little
little smaller.
smaller. So there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1. Boom. And we're back. How was your sprint?
Was going good until the timer went off, and I was in the middle of a sentence, and it's like,
Uh,
I cannot finish this quickly.
I hear that. I hear that. I spent the first half of the stream clearing social media notifications and double checking email because I've been in panels the last 3 hours. So once I caught up on that, though, I found out where I left off. I'm in the last 50 pages. And I've been working on the first paragraph of chapter 42, which was not working at all. It needed a lot of other things. So I'm almost done, and I'm going to read through it a couple times, and then I might be able to move forward. But this chapter needs a lot of work, so I don't imagine it's a quickie.
It is full of the things you do not need and is lacking in the things that you do.
Exactly. And you may have noticed I snacked my way through that entire sprint, that thing. So, popping into the comment, Desdemona was getting hungry after Maggie's description of macaroni salad. Desdemona says, I love macaroni salad. I'm the person at the barbecue eating all the sides while everyone else eats the main focus of the barbecue. And Raven says, I'm glad I literally just ate, or all this snacking would have made me hungry at the moment I entered the stream. Hello, Comet. I think you're a first timer, so welcome. We're doing productivity sprints of 23 minutes because Morgan is easily amused and it's 2023. So we were just all working on projects and snacking. So let's see. Debbie was working on coloring a comic page. Awesome. What genre? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. Let's see. Desdemona did a little research and is almost through her character's personal history. She didn't see how many words she had at the start of the sprint, so no clue how many she wrote. Legit.
So I do know that in my process of my editing, I added 96 words to my manuscript.
I probably added one because I deleted and added and deleted and added. Yeah. This paragraph's not what it needs to be. So it's so weird. Sometimes you can spend, 3 hours on one sentence, and sometimes you can get through 3 chapters in 3 hours. So
yeah.
Let's see. Raven is resolutely doing a whole lot of nothing after spending his morning doing laundry and taking his daily exercise walk. Seems pretty reasonable to me. So awesome. It sounds like everybody's having a pretty solid day. Who here is doing NaNoWriMo? Or Camp Nano?
Not doing Camp Nano right now because edits.
I'm doing like EdmoWriMo.
Yeah.
Or I guess Nano Edmo.
I've tried to do Nano Edmo, and it's hard to come up with good statistics for your productivity. It can be good for getting through something, but it's kind of hard to measure and set goals.
Yeah.
Why?
I usually measure pages, so yeah.
I have mandatory cat content.
Hi, who's a kitty? Oh, one of the people at the convention has like a 6-week-old kitten that they rescued in a bag that she keeps on her hip. Obviously when not in the room with the litter box and the food and stuff.
Was that the one that got brought to your
yes.
Party? I saw the pictures that you posted that they into the room party.
Yeah, Carrie is a bodybuilding fitness model and cosplayer, so she's pretty awesome. And she brought a cat to my party, so Let's see. Desdemona is doing NaNoWriMo, Camp Nano, and is counting her world building words. Legit to me. Raven completely forgot that Camp Nano would have been this month. And Desdemona left her goat at 20K. Oh, goal at 20K. Nice and easy.
No, the goat was going with her to 20K, and then she just left it at the side of the road, and it started grazing, and she kept
going. So Debbie says for the comic, the genre is at least supernatural. So Raven said he barely made any effort on the camp earlier this year, the April one. So kind of sour on word count based efforts at this moment. Yeah. If it's not working for you right now, it's not working for you. And maybe it'll work for you again later, but own where you are right now. Like I own snacking works for me, you know? So hello, Patrick made it. Patrick is coming from work where he's editing competitively boring things. Zero portals, the wrong kind of fantasy. You don't even like fantasy.
I just like the whole concept that they're competitively boring. It's like they are actively trying to be the boringest thing ever, and there's lots of competition.
I think it's more like you edit something and you think it's the most boring thing, and then you edit something else and it's even worse. But it may also be some level of building on each other. It's only as boring as it is because you just dealt with that much boredom.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And apparently it has a complete lack of portals.
Right?
Yeah.
Desdemona is letting her goat type for her.
Okay.
And Debbie is struggling to figure out what genre besides supernatural that her story is. So, supernatural is a genre. There's no reason you want to keep it narrowly focused on one or two genres. Picking a genre is generally looking at the story beats and deciding which of the things it could be, it better fits. Because if you upset the reader's expectations, you get 1-star reviews and your book's shown to the wrong audience. So you gotta pick your genre. So do not feel bad for only having one genre. That is a good thing that we try to encourage people to do more of. Supernatural usually gets marked as urban fantasy these days, but it depends on the setting and things like that. I've talked a little bit about how my last failed NaNoWriMo project was a suburban fantasy that would probably get qualified as an urban fantasy, even though it's clearly suburban. So the term is more broadly used than accurately used.
That's for sure.
So
yeah, usually things get labeled as urban fantasies when they really just needs to be called a modern fantasy.
So
contemporary fantasy.
Typically, okay, yeah, there are some urban fantasies that could be contemporary fantasies.
Yep.
But there are some in which the world is not ours. It's ours, but something horrible happened, and now there are things. So we have a lot of the same tech and stuff, but the settings or buildings are crumbling because of magic's return or something like that. So I think there's a strong argument to be made for contemporary fantasy if it's our exact world, but there are secrets you don't know, versus almost our world, but something huge happened and it's different, you know? Does that make sense?
So it's more contemporary fantasy when the magic is hidden, and when the magic is roaming the streets, it's more urban fantasy.
maybe I think even if it's hidden, contemporary fantasy is there are secrets we don't know about, or maybe it's open, but it's our exact world. Like I would do Suki Stackhouse even as contemporary fantasy, But Kate Daniels and some of the others, I would definitely keep to urban fantasy because the skyscrapers fell down and this and that and the other, you know?
Well, it's kind of like I was thinking more of the Dresden Files.
Dresden Files, I'd probably do contemporary fantasy.
Okay.
So, just because the world is basically ours with things we don't know about,
Mm-hmm.
where if you're not involved in the supernatural community, it doesn't affect your life.
Okay.
Unless you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up Metamore City as an example because that's a world where both technology and magic are working side by side, and although that is an other world project, but then it's like, no, that's definitely urban fantasy because it's all based in the city.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot the other thing I spent the first 5-10 minutes of the sprint doing was looking into Writer's Digest Slam Fest at their annual conference and wondering if it's something I should look into doing.
I don't know. What
Me
is
neither.
Fest?
So yeah, I'm thinking about it, and they're still looking for speakers for like workshops, but not for panels. So curiouser and curiouser.
Oh.
So what do you think? Should we do another sprint?
Oh. I was going to say I want to talk a little bit about the fact that I've had an interesting week.
Okay, do it.
So I've talked about the fact that I was going to be going down to the Carolina Renaissance Festival in November.
Yeah.
As part of the Time Traveling Authors Group.
Sure.
And on Monday, I got notification that basically we've been doing things very lackadaisically in the past.
Sure.
And the fair was being nice and treating us like guests that they were bringing in for a single event. And apparently they decided to treat us more like vendors. And
Oh.
they added a bunch of new requirements on us. And the guy who was our organizer looked at that and they said, we really can't do this. We're just a loose collection of authors. So it looks like that's that gig that I fought for so many years to try to get to be a part of has just gone away.
Oh no.
So now I've got an open slot in November. But then today, looking at my email earlier, and I got an invite from Capclave.
Oh, nice.
So I've yet to respond to it, but it looks like I'm going to have that convention at the end of September.
Nice.
So it's like
I
weird flux in my con schedule.
Sure. Oh yeah. I think I filled out a participant survey recently. So awesome. I will see you there then.
Cool.
So okay. What do you oh, hello and welcome. Thank you, Facebird McSweeney, for following me on Twitch. I just saw that notification come through. So let's see. Patrick says I should talk about publisher and agency red flags to see if we can add any. Right now or at the conference? Unclear. So, I mean,
so don't talk about this at the conference. Wait till you get home and then you can talk trash about.
Yeah. I would say red flags include, agencies where people don't stay very long. Ones in which junior agents take on a bunch of writers right away without a lot of mentorship and before they've really established connections with the editors and publishers. people who post problematic stuff on the internet. I definitely look for agents who have at least a couple years experience somewhere in the literary aid publishing world. They don't have to necessarily have been agents. I love previous editors and people who have worked for publishers as well. So yeah, let's see. I would definitely talk to their clients and see how fast their turnaround is, what their communication pattern and rhythm is. So those are the biggies I can think of off the top of my head. Obviously, Patrick's been looking at my blog post because we're prepping for a discussion in a couple weeks, couple months. I forgot the timeline on that, where we're going to be talking about that. So,
yeah, red flag for me would be talking to a publisher, and they give you something which they call their standard contract, and then they are not willing to change it.
Yeah. Usually they should be flexible on some of the terms, and your rights should always revert to you after a set number of time. For short stories, it should be a year, 3 tops. For novels, obviously a little longer. But if it doesn't return to you in 7 years, that's ridiculous because they do not get your rights in perpetuity. And don't give away your rights. Don't say they have all your audio rights if they're not planning on publishing an audiobook for you.
Oh, and watch out for claims of rights for media that have not yet been invented yet.
Yeah. And they don't own your characters in perpetuity, etc. That sort of thing. I've heard some people were writing with George R. Martin and ran into he will own for like short anthology thing, and he will own your story or your characters forever. And somebody pushed back and they're like, yeah, no problem. And I think that's almost have to weed out people who don't know what they're doing in the industry, or you might as well try for the rights.
Yeah, but a lot of things in the industry are, well, let's try this and see if they'll fall for it.
Yeah. So just read it carefully, and that's why agents are really helpful. Is they know what a contract should look like. They know the expectations. They know the percentages you should expect, and which rights to fight for and which ones not to. When you get lawyers and stuff who may work in media rights and stuff like that, who aren't familiar with the literary world, you end up with things like Cockygate, where an author of romance gave her romantic guy characters the last name Cocky, the Cocky brothers or something, right, because of the obvious innuendo there. And then she tried to trademark the use of the word cocky in titles and for character names in romances, when it's a genre thing, and any lawyer in the industry would know that's not something. And she definitely got a lot of flack for it and a lot of pushback and spent a lot of money fighting that lawsuit. And so there are plenty of lawyers who are good lawyers, but if they don't know the industry, then they don't know what's reasonable to ask for and when you should make a stand versus when you shouldn't. Okay. So yeah.
Another red flag is an agent who says, "Oh, you don't need to read the contract. I've read it. It's fine."
Yeah, no. Raven said, Raven added, like, the idea that contracting the publisher, being allowed to include your writing in an AI engine and churn out BS based on your work in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Definitely say no. Say no. The screenwriting industry is dealing with that right now, and it's utterly ridiculous. And they also want to get background characters or background actors.
Scan the images of actors who are hired to fill in the background for scenes so that they could use their likenesses in perpetuity to generate new works via computer, and it's
only pay them for one day's work.
Yep.
Rather than each instance, etc. Yeah, it's
the the entertainment industry is doing a big money grab because they think AI is going to let them do a lot of things very cheaply.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
reality is it's going to help them do a lot of things quickly and poorly.
Hmm. Isn't that the truism about the Venn diagram? You can have it quick, you can have it cheap, or you can have it well done. You
Yeah,
can sacrifice one of those and get two of them, but you can't have all three. You
yeah,
can have quick and cheap. You can have good and cheap, but it takes 10 years.
yeah,
You can have what I you get the point.
yeah.
So
And ironically, it's the executives who are the ones whose work could most easily be done by computer. Uh,
yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's a whole tangent to fall down. But we're here to talk about writing, but also to do some writing and or eating snacks. So I think it's time for another sprint.
yep, I'm ready now.
Okay. Let's
Oh,
reset this timer.
time for timer.
Okay. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. A boom, chaka laka laka laka. Okay. And we're back. Oh, yeah, it is time to stretch. Might be time to stretch. Well, Doc finishes his chapter page.
That thingy.
Life.
No,
No, no,
my life.
wait.
No.
That's a really long stretch break.
Lifelong stretch break.
Lifelong stretch break. So, how was your sprint?
Pretty good. Getting past a couple tripping points, and yeah, it's starting to flow a lot smoother, and adding in some of the detail that my editor has been complaining I don't have.
Oh, I finished getting through that paragraph, and I'm about 600 words into this chapter, and I've got to wiggle some stuff, but it's going pretty well. So let's see. Popping to the comments, Sako swung by and said hi. She also stole some of my snacks, so don't think she missed out on the snack stream. Hello, King Red Spy Red X. Welcome, Jacob. And ooh, Desdemona added over 300 words.
Nice.
And Jacob is talking about getting swallowed by a sandworm in his dream. Or is that the title of something? Unclear.
That doesn't sound like fun.
I would be doomed on Dune.
Doomed, I say. No.
So
Doomed.
I shared a video on TikTok about the time experimental jazz almost killed me.
Yeah, I saw that.
So for those of you who may not have watched, I'm a former band geek, and I can, if I hear music, I start walking in the pattern. And I had a coworker, a project manager, whose desk was set up at the top of a flight of stairs, and he was listening to experimental jazz. And I walked by, and I start going down the stairs, but this brand of experimental jazz has no beat, no tempo. And I stumbled and almost fell down a flight of stairs. So I'm not even being hyperbolic. I almost died listening to experimental jazz. And I'm like, Eric, your music is fine. I like most of it, but you're going to have to put on headphones for the experimental jazz.
It's just absolutely tempo free.
Otherwise, you're a workplace accident waiting to happen. So experimental jazz is a danger of the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, Jacob says, and I got swallowed by Chronictus and King Kong in his dream. Oh my goodness. So let's see. Raven basically got up late in the sprint to make an effort to finish the cleaning he left half done. He still needs to actually put away the laundry and do some random cleanup around the house. Legit. Although, as long as you have clean clothes, I like to lay them flat over the edge of the basket, the laundry basket, so they don't get wrinkled. But I have definitely done that and worn clothes out of the laundry basket for like up to 3 weeks. So it's one of laundry is one of those any job worth doing is worth doing poorly. If the clothes are clean and you don't finish folding them, you still have clean clothes. If you don't put them away, you still have clean clothes.
It's a C.
Until something goes and lays on them like a cat and sheds on them.
Have you considered putting a towel on top of the pile?
No, that just attracts the cat faster.
Right, but the towel attracts the cat's fur, and you remove the towel and grab the clothes and put the towel back. You can make there are ways to work around, not being able to finish a task. So, or at least make it closer to working.
Mhm.
I saw a thing of someone being struggling with depression, and they're like, I can't even get myself to make a sandwich. And the person's like, you can eat the bread and the meat and the cheese without assembling it. Call it a deconstructed sandwich
Yep.
or an adult Lunchable, but roll it. Wait,
Yep.
is that a charcuterie board?
Yeah. Charcuterie board is not an adult lunchable. So
Right. So okay. Raven says the baskets the clothes are in are the same baskets he puts the clothes in when they're dirty. So now he has an incentive to put the clothes away. Okay. For me, I have a basket for clean clothes that's big, and then the individual baskets for the sorted laundry, and that's the dirty laundry. And so when it's clean, I dump it in the big one until I get around to folding it. And
I
sometimes,
always have one more basket than the clothes actually fit into. So we have the designated dirty one and the others are clean.
right, yeah. I had to explain to a friend that the that basket is clean clothes. That basket has been worn once but can totally be worn again, like
Mhm.
jeans. And the others are the dirty baskets. They're not all dirty. Or at least, there's stages.
Yep.
So ooh, Sako got me a sun kissed in case you notice me suddenly having a sun kissed on.
Mm-hmm.
So oh why am I yawning?
I have no idea.
So
Because it's been a
oh.
long weekend and you've been very busy.
Right. So it sounded like everybody had a pretty solid sprint. Did you get stuck on anything or was it flowing nicely?
It was starting to flow nicely. It was kind of stuck at the end of the last sprint and figured out a way to to get things moving again and uh,
Sure. Okay.
added a bunch of words, cut a bunch of words, but it's starting to move again better. So,
Okay. That makes sense.
oh, so wordsmith Sarah is here.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. Oh no. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry you're wait. I see a smiley face. Is that sarcasm?
I think so.
Okay. I'm glad you had a terrible week then.
Let's at least hope so.
So good. Oh, I forgot to follow up with you about the thing and the stuff and the copyright music and whatever.
The thing
Because I was prepping for this convention I'm at right now. I just, yeah. So I will reach out. I have not forgotten, and I do appreciate your offer. So let's see. Raven was also listening to Lord Huron's Strange Trails album, which he highly recommends if you like narrative concept. Oh no, Sarah wasn't being sarcastic.
Oh darn.
Oh no. Sarah was sick the first half of vacation and then spilled a whole soda onto the computer on Thursday. Oh no. Oh no. Um, is all your stuff backed up? Can you still get to all your writing? Sarah's trying to have a good attitude about it. I get it.
Yeah.
It means those were sick days you didn't have to use and you didn't have to deal with the drama of the soda incident while juggling work. Oh no, Sarah has to use an Apple computer right now?
That's not a bad thing.
I believe we have Doc's wife laughing in the background here.
Yep. Considering we just spent the afternoon at the Apple store.
Right? And my assumption was something was broke, not you were shopping.
Well, sort of. Her previous phone was like 5 or 6 years old.
More than that.
And an update
Sure.
came through that basically disabled one of the functions, and that was just enough to push her over to say, maybe I should go ahead and get a new phone.
Yeah, I hear ya. Oh, okay. Desdemona sends lots of sympathy for Sarah and also finds having to use an apple terrifying. And Sarah says that the hard drive at least isn't dead, but it seems that the CPU and the motherboard are. Yeesh.
Okay, at least the hard drive survived.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, everything's recoverable. Sarah says using Apple is torture for her. So obviously, I'm a mature adult.
Yeah, apparently.
But her Mac has a Windows boot, so phew.
So it's like better than it runs Windows better than most Windows machines.
Raven says, I've never used an Apple product, so I commiserate, if only in abject ignorance.
Very well politically stated there, Raven. I'm all for people using whatever computer they're most happy with, but honestly, the computers are all pretty good if you know what you're doing.
I use Windows because Macs are more expensive, and I don't want to pay more to be part of a cult when it works basically the same.
I don't know.
I avoid things that have cult-like followings, like Apple and each individual branch of Linux. And
see, I actually like the Apple products because I've got lots of friends who use Windows, and they are having to replace or upgrade their computers every year or every 2 years, and we always get 6 to 8 years out of our machines before we have to replace them. So
last time I had to replace my laptop, it had been 4, maybe 5 years. And the reason I replaced it was not Windows. It was the battery swelled up.
Yeah.
So the battery got damaged. And that's totally not laptop dependent.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sarah also believes Scientology as the list of cult items. So Sarah says that her computer doesn't run anything that needs a dedicated. Oh, she doesn't run anything that needs a dedicated video cards. Hence, most of her games. Yeah. King Red Spy Red X. The sandworm ate Shrek and swallowed him whole. Oh no. Let's see. Sarah says it really depends what you use your computer for and what you do with them when you use them. Yeah. I do have to say, there's one thing I'm jealous of Mac users. It's iMovie and how early it came out and how early you had access to video editing stuff integral on your OS.
Yeah. But and I have to admit that there's one function that I can't do on my Macs, actually, for just the reason that Sarah writes about, is that I want to do PCVR, and all that stuff is written for Windows. So I'm saving up to build a Windows VR gaming machine.
Yeah. So, I mean, we already know what I think of your hardware software opinions. You're a Scrivener user, so
it works for me. What do you care?
Which is why during the NaNoWriMo panel I moderated just before this stream, I said, hey, you use Scrivener, tell the people how you use it and what it's good for. Because I know it will work for people who aren't me. Number one rule of writing, do what works for you.
Yes.
So, oh no, that's Shrek saying the sandworm swallowed him.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacob, for doing your game playing with us.
Yeah.
Sharing your game playing with us. So let's see. Desdemona says that she'd like to have a Linux box to play with, but hasn't gotten around to making one. Maybe whenever she needs to upgrade her current desktop, she'll put a Linux OS on here. I use it plenty for work, so I'm comfortable in both environments. I'm okay. I'm actually fine using a Mac. I just find it annoying in some ways. So, Let's see. Oh no, Sarah has terrible motion sickness, so can't do VR. It causes her the pukes, which is unfortunate because it's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Desdemona says that the only VR she can do is the ones where you don't travel or move. She can do the static games like Beat Saber. Yeah. I tried some of the moving ones, and I don't know if I chose the wrong option, but it definitely made me nauseous. My fix, I would close one eye when moving and then open them both to fight the opponent and then close the eye when moving. Because
That's interesting.
you get depth perception from both eyes.
Yeah.
And so taking that away helped me. I could do one or the other at a time, and if I could get away with that, it was okay.
Yeah.
So
I've found that some of those games actually have like teleport modes,
yes.
which helps some with that. But
Mhm.
yeah, the reality is if you're having that miscommunication between your inner ear and what your eyes are seeing, you can either practice to try to get over it, or yeah, you kind of have to bail.
Yeah, yeah. So Debbie says Debbie struggles as well. Yeah, can't either.
I've had
So,
some games that made me really violently ill, and other games where it's like, okay, I'm a little queasy, but I can handle it.
sure. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
But
So what do you
okay.
say about another sprint?
I was going to say it's almost 6:05. It looks like we've got just enough time to squeeze in one more sprint.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Sarah says she could take medication for it, and she has it, but it costs $700 for 20 patches, and that's kind of steep just to play a game.
That's kind of steep.
So
That's the kind of thing I feel about subscription games. It's like, why am I paying for something I already own? No.
yeah,
Why am I
yeah,
paying when I'm not using it? Anyhow,
right. So okay, well, let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1. Boom, chaka laka laka. Still not old. It still hasn't been old. And we're back. How was your sprint?
It's doing pretty good. I finished the scene that I was working on, and
Awesome.
I think I've got half a chapter done.
Yeah.
Well, not 3/4 of a chapter done. The first scene was a biggie.
Yeah. Ugh. I'm in a very telly chapter where we're transitioning from one space to another, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to shift some of the telling to showing while still skimming over these parts because they need to happen,
Yep.
but I want to summarize and move on to what happens next, you know?
You need to do the important showing and the expedient telling. Yeah.
Right. But when changing the punctuation and the tense turns it basically from telling into showing,
Yeah.
I can lean into that. Sako, do you want me to swing the camera around so you can say hi? No. Sako's right there, and she hopped on and got cozy.
Sako could come around and sit next to you.
Or she could eat some fruit by the foot.
Decisions.
She has a friend at the convention. Every time he saw her, he tossed her one or two fruit by the foot. So she's been in a sugar coma all weekend long.
Okay. Check your insulin level. No.
So I just looked, and my chapter, remember how I said it was like 600, 650 into the chapter? I'm now 750. But I wiggled some stuff around, and it's getting there. I'm hating it a lot less, or rather, I didn't hate it. I think I was just a little disappointed.
Always a good sign when you start to hate your work less.
Right. So let's see. Popping into the comments, Sarah says that her writing stuff isn't accessible. Stupid Apple. But it's just trying to make the computer work for her in the interim. Legit. Desdemona is through the history of her character and to the why is she important part, which is fun because it's the heart of her story. Yeah. Oh no, but also ends in her death, so that part will be less fun. Legit. Sarah would like one of your spare fruit by the foot. Oh, it's that. We've got it.
Fruit by the fling.
Right. Here you go.
All for you.
There. I shoved it through the camera. You've got it now, right, Sarah? That's totally how this works. So
Okay.
I don't think I'm finishing this chapter tonight, but I think maybe it's time for me to head to dinner. So it's 6:31. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us and eating snacks and maybe even working on something. So let's tell people where to find us and peace out, yo.
Okay, I guess I'll go first.
Sarah said it didn't work. She didn't get that fruit by the foot.
Oh,
I'll try harder next time.
need a correspondence 3.
Apparently.
Yeah. Oh, and Raven got the laundry away. Ooh. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. People's comments just came in.
So I can do an outro now?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Doc Coleman. I write Mad Science, Manners, and Mayhem. If you're interested in me or any of my works, you can go to your favorite search engine and search on Doc Coleman Steampunk. And that will help you find my website at doccoleman.com. It will also help you find my Amazon author page where you can see all the works that I've published and you can take a look at some samples and decide if it's right for you or someone you love.
Dun, dun, dun. And I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood. I blog, vlog, and podcast writing tips from the pros from conventions like I'm at right now. And also, of course, my own writerly musings on my journey to becoming a published, world-acclaimed writer. Yeah. So let's see. This week on the podcast, I was talking about how to self-edit that lousy first draft. And then I was talking about why I'm going to a convention and maybe I should refocus on agents, but I had an amazing time here. I would definitely not have wanted to coming here was not a mistake, and I definitely networked and got a job offer for. Well, we'll see if it works out, and I'll tell you about it then. But yeah, it's been a great weekend. I've had an amazing time, and I hope, and I'll be sharing my notes as I can. So have a great weekend wherever you are. Get some dinner, get some sleep, and I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.